Que onda, que tal, que tranza carnal? What's up all? This is Steve, and in today's video, we're gonna talk about 5 things you really wanna think about before you really make that move to Mexico. So before I get started into that part of the video, let me tell you a quick story. There was a couple that was traveling through the Far East, and they had come across this one particular city out in the desert, and they decided to stay for the night, and so they went and had a wonderful dinner. The service was fantastic. They really enjoyed themselves. They ended up enjoying it so much they stayed and danced for a while, and then went back to the hotel where, of course, the hotel staff was very hospitable and took really good care of them. And so the next morning they were getting up to go to the next town, and they saw an old sage, an old wise man outside of the town, and said, "Good sir, we are on our way to this next city. What kind of people are we really going to find in this particular town?" And the sage says, "Well, what kind of people did you find here?" And the couple says, "Man, this place was great. I mean, the people were so nice and friendly and hospitable, and good service everywhere we went." And the sage said, well, wonderful. I'm glad you enjoyed it. And no, you'll find the same type of people in this next town." And so that next night, another couple comes through town, and they decide they're going to stay. And they go to a restaurant, and don't really care for the service too much. And at the hotel, they feel like the people are kind of rude and just, kind of ran into some difficulties throughout the city. And so the next morning, very hurriedly, they're up early, they're ready to go. They're ready to get out of that town. Let's get out of here. And so they get to the outskirts of town, and they come across that old sage, and they say, "Good sir, we are headed out of here. We're headed to this next town. What kind of people are we going to find?" And the sage says, "Well, what kind of people did you find here?" And the man says, "We didn't really care for this town too much. That we didn't think the service was good at the restaurant. The hotel staff was not very hospitable. Just really not our kind of people at all." And the sage says, "Well, unfortunately, you're going to find the same kind of people in the next town." And so the moral of the story, of course, is you're going to find what it is you're looking for. Are you looking for the good? Or are you looking for the bad? Because in every situation, in every location, you're going to find good people, good situations, bad situations. Matter of fact, a wise man told me many, many years ago when I was actually moving a location, he said, "Remember, Steve, you always take you with you." In other words, you can never run from a problem because you're always taking you with you. So let's jump into the video. 5 reasons why, 5 things you want to consider before you make your move to Mexico.
Okay, so the first bad thing about living in Mexico is the Chinese food. Now, some of you are going to disagree, some of my friends in Mexico, but I'll tell you what, I've traveled all over this country, and you cannot find good Chinese food in Mexico. I just got done eating at the place behind me, China Express. Now, this is in a strip mall, this place came highly, highly recommended. I will say, for fast food, Chinese food strip mall, wasn't too shabby, but still, you can't find good Chinese food in Mexico. Now, the one possibility could be Mexico City. They have a great everything in Mexico City. But if you're going to move to Mexico and you're living somewhere in the country, don't plan on getting good Chinese food, trust me.
Okay, so the second thing I don't like about living in Mexico is trying to find some clothes. And so I'm in this strip mall, kind of outlet mall. Been looking for shoes, been looking for some shirts. So to find something in my size in Mexico is very, very difficult, whether it be shoes or shirts. And so if you're gonna move to Mexico, make sure you're stocked up on everything you need, or be doing some regular trips back to the States, or even doing the online thing, because to really try to find things that fit in the grown man size doesn't quite work too well in Mexico. Alrighty. Okay, so the third thing that I really struggle with in Mexico is the efficiency. Now, in my last video, I told you one of my favorite things is tranquilo. That's also something that can be very difficult. So, the efficiency of going into the bank, let's say, you might spend 2 hours in a bank trying to get help, or you go to, the cell phone company, Telcel, you might be in there for a couple hours. And so there's no run a quick errand in Mexico. Things do take time. Things are much less efficient, and it can get quite frustrating. Even at times when maybe someone's supposed to show up to, fix your internet or something along that line, getting someone to show up sometimes can be challenging. So that's, to me, the absolute biggest component of living in Mexico is simply the lack of efficiency. Now, again, that's been very good for me because I was so high-strung in the States that I needed to chill out a little bit. But at the same time, sometimes it can be a little bit difficult to get things done. You really do have to be patient. Still no Pillsbury biscuits in the refrigerator, which brings us to number 4. The fourth thing I don't like about Mexico is it's really hard to get specialty products. And so unless you're in a real major city or a place that is very conducive to foreigners, to gringos, to Americans, then there's going to be products that you simply have to live without. So keep that in mind before you move to Mexico. Okay, so here's the fifth and final reason that you might want to reconsider Mexico, and that really is the transportation. Now, what do I mean by that? Because there's a real good and a bad here. First of all, oftentimes, especially on mainland Mexico, cars can be pretty expensive. But to go beyond that, gasoline prices are actually higher in Mexico than they are in the US. Now, if you're like me and you like to drive bigger vehicles, there's gonna be a lot of areas where you might go where parking downtown is gonna be a real pain in the wazoo. So here's the good news though of transportation in Mexico. One is Mexico has a tremendous public transportation system. If I wanted to really travel Mexico and I did not have a dog, I would strongly consider just busing all over Mexico. Why do I say that? The buses are super fancy, super nice. They've got internet. You can watch movies. They're super luxurious and very, very, very cost effective. You don't have to worry about getting lost. The busing system is great for the long distance as well as short term. Of course, there's things like Uber, there's things like Pro Chauffeur and other transportation services. And of course, then you don't have to worry about parking. So it's not that transportation is bad. Really, it's about, do you really need to own a vehicle? And so whether or not you want to bring your vehicle into Mexico is kind of the big question mark here. Now keep this in mind. If you're going into the Baja, it's not a big idea to keep your United States license plates. However, coming to mainland, you really do need to either import your car or just leave it there and purchase a car while you're here in Mexico. So there's the 5 reasons on maybe why you want to reconsider moving to Mexico. Obviously, I think the pros way outweigh the cons, but I did want to be honest in this video and say, you know what? Not everything is absolutely perfect. And like in anything in life, you kind of get what you're looking for.